Thomas the cobbler lived in a small village, where he was known for his remarkable skill in mending shoes. Despite his talent, he barely earned enough to survive. Each day, Thomas whistled while he worked, bringing joy to the villagers who passed by. One day, a wealthy merchant arrived with a pair of worn-out boots. The merchant was haughty and looked down on Thomas, but the cobbler greeted him warmly. The boots were in terrible condition, but Thomas assured the merchant he could restore them. While repairing the boots, Thomas discovered a hidden pouch filled with gold coins. He wondered if the merchant knew about the treasure inside. Choosing honesty, Thomas stitched the boots back up and returned them without mentioning the gold. The merchant, oblivious to the treasure, paid Thomas a small fee and left without thanks. Thomas sighed but felt proud of his honesty despite the temptation. He imagined what he could do with the wealth but knew the money wasn't his. That evening, as Thomas closed his shop, a ragged boy stared at a pair of shoes in the window. The boy's shoes were falling apart, and Thomas's heart ached for him. Without a second thought, Thomas invited the boy inside and offered him a new pair of shoes. The boy's eyes lit up with joy as Thomas fitted him with the shoes. The boy thanked Thomas profusely, and the cobbler felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Though he had little, Thomas was rich in kindness. That night, Thomas slept peacefully, knowing he had done the right thing. Little did he know that his act of kindness would soon change his life. The next day, the merchant returned to Thomas's shop with a troubled look. He had discovered the hidden gold and realized that Thomas had not taken any of it. Impressed by Thomas's honesty, the merchant offered him a reward. Thomas hesitated but accepted a small portion, enough to improve his shop. With the reward, Thomas bought better tools and materials, allowing him to serve his customers even better. Word of his honesty spread, bringing more business to his shop. Thomas's life improved, but he remained humble and generous. The ragged boy visited often, becoming a friend to the kind cobbler. Though he had more customers, Thomas never turned away anyone in need. His shop became a place of warmth and kindness in the village. One cold winter evening, an old woman entered Thomas's shop with a pair of tattered shoes. She looked tired and worn, and her eyes were filled with sorrow. Thomas greeted her with a smile and offered her a seat by the fire. As he worked on her shoes, the woman shared her story. She had lost her family and home, wandering from place to place. Thomas listened quietly, feeling her pain deeply. When the shoes were ready, Thomas handed them back to the woman. She thanked him with tears in her eyes, grateful for his kindness. As she left, Thomas noticed she had dropped a small locket. He picked it up, planning to return it to her if she came back. Days passed, but the old woman did not return. Thomas kept the locket safe, hoping she would come back for it. One day, the ragged boy visited again, and Thomas shared the story of the old woman. The boy suggested they search for her together. They searched the village, asking everyone if they had seen the old woman. No one had, and Thomas began to worry. Finally, they found her sitting alone by the river, looking lost and cold. Thomas approached her gently, returning the locket. The woman was overwhelmed with gratitude, revealing that the locket was her last memory of her family. Thomas and the boy helped her back to the shop, offering her warmth and food. She stayed with Thomas for a while, finding comfort in his kindness. The boy, Thomas, and the old woman formed a small, caring family. They shared meals, stories, and laughter, filling the cobbler's shop with warmth. Thomas's life was richer than he had ever imagined, surrounded by love. As spring arrived, the old woman's health began to decline. Thomas cared for her tenderly, knowing she had little time left. One night, As she lay peacefully, she thanked Thomas for giving her a place to call home. She passed away quietly, surrounded by her new family. Thomas and the boy mourned her loss deeply, but they found comfort in knowing she had been happy. They buried her by the river, where she had found peace. Life continued, but Thomas often thought of the old woman. Her memory stayed with him, a reminder of the fleeting nature of life. The boy continued to visit Thomas, bringing laughter and joy to the shop. Together, they kept the old woman's memory alive. One day, a wealthy man arrived in the village, searching for the cobbler. He had heard of Thomas's honesty and wanted to meet him. The man was a nobleman who had lost his only son. He had heard about the ragged boy who often visited Thomas's shop. The nobleman was amazed by the boy's resemblance to his lost son. He asked Thomas if the boy was his, but Thomas explained their friendship. The nobleman revealed that he had been searching for his lost son for years. He believed the boy might be his long-lost child. Thomas was shocked, but he understood the nobleman's hope. They decided to speak with the boy together. When they told the boy, he was hesitant but curious. He had always wondered about his past, never knowing his real family. The nobleman shared stories of his lost son, and the boy listened intently. He felt a connection but wasn't sure if it was real. They decided to conduct a test to confirm the nobleman's belief. The results showed that the boy was indeed the nobleman's lost son. The boy was overwhelmed with emotion, torn between his old life and this new discovery. Thomas assured him that he would always be his friend, no matter what. The nobleman offered to take the boy back to his estate, promising him a life of luxury. The boy hesitated, torn between the life he knew and the one he had lost. In the end, the boy chose to stay with Thomas, feeling that the cobbler was his true family. The nobleman respected his decision, offering them both support. With the nobleman's help, Thomas's shop flourished even more. The cobbler and the boy continued to live happily, surrounded by friends and love. Though life had many ups and downs, Thomas was content. He knew that true wealth came from the love and kindness he shared with others. The village celebrated Thomas, the cobbler, who had brought so much warmth to their lives. His legacy of kindness lived on, inspiring everyone who knew him. And so, Thomas, the boy, and the village lived in peace and harmony. Their story became a cherished tale, passed down through generations. The cobbler's shop remained a symbol of honesty, love, and kindness. It stood as a reminder that even the smallest acts of goodness could change lives. The moral of the story is that kindness, honesty, and compassion are the true measures of wealth, even in difficult circumstances. Doing the right thing and caring for others can lead to unexpected rewards and deep, meaningful relationships. Acts of goodness, no matter how small, have the power to transform lives and create a legacy that endures.